Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Real Talks. I'm your host, David Steele, and I'm happy to be back with you guys. And today is the fourth and final installment of our interview with Sammy. So she was so gracious to come on. She's had a lot of wise words. She's done so much in the industry, and I have no doubt she's going to do so much more. If you like these interviews, guys, or if you like these videos, please take a few seconds, hit the like and subscribe button, because we have so much content coming for you in 2023. We have our perfect movie series. We have our first reaction videos. We have our spoiler cast. We have interviews like these. The Last of Us is going to be starting in a few weeks. Kyle and I are going to be doing weekly videos on those and a ton of other stuff. So, as I said, sit back, relax, and without further ado, let us dive back into the interview.
That's awesome.
Those are three different movies
awesome.
I want to put.
And you know what? It sounds, I many months ago I did a podcast called Remakes, Reboots, and Sequels, the three things that drive Hollywood. And because we are so, as a culture, we are so infatuated with IP. And, whether it's, I don't know, whatever it is. And then those are the things that everybody wants to see. And original scripts are so hard to find. I mean, just like, and it's just, so that's why it's so, when a good original script when it comes out, everybody gravitates toward it. Like The Black Phone, for example. I'm just bringing this up as a random thing. I saw that in theaters. Yeah. Amazing movie. Did it have a couple knockoff things like that? But it worked. And yeah, it was a short story, but it worked. Mm-hmm. You have all of these other things. I mean, for me personally, I think Hollywood goes in trends. I mean, whether it was 15 years ago, you had boxing movies with, Southpaw and Hands of Stones or whatever, to now we're in the musical trend, okay? In the last 5 years, you've had Bohemian Rhapsody, you've had A Star is Born, you've had Rocket Man, mm-hmm. You've had Judy, and so and biopics too. And so the fact is, when you come up with an original, and that's what it is, an original script like that, and you're able to tell a story about a character that is original, and you care about them and everything else, people want to go eat that up for lunch. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. And how I got this inspiration to put these three movies together, but I also did my own research, is who really got the ball rolling for me was actually, I read Will Smith's book. And it, believe it or not, I was one chapter in, the Oscar slap happened, and then I continued reading it. So I don't want to go too close to that, but I just want to
No. And I think
I don't want to give you like the timeline of it, but I thought it was so interesting that I was one chapter in, and then I'm reading this book on a totally different lens. But that's cinematography, that's production, and hearing his journey, and I'm like, oh, I want this. And then also I do my research of directors, because I'm like, who do I like? There's at least, let's see, 4 directors I love, and it's from not only from their their directing skills, but also from the people that they are, at least from how I look at them. And it's from Zoe Saldana, from Eva Longoria to Gabriele Muccino, and I have Baz Luhrmann. So, and when you look at that, from Eva Longoria and Zoe Saldana, they're from the Gordita Chronicles, and then you look at Elvis, Moulin Rouge, that's Baz, and then Gabriele is The Pursuit of Happiness. So, and outside of that too, after being in Bali, I love international. Like when I'm in the States, I think differently. Whereas when I'm out of the U.S., I feel like my mind is free, and I'm just like, my soul's international. So if you look at all those things, they're, from an Australian to an Italian director, and then Hispanic directors. That's what I want to be. I want to bring that to the table.
Yeah, I think that, we in the States look at film differently. I mean, this is just a fact, okay? We dissect, critique, and pick out every little nuance. Oh, they didn't do this right. They didn't do that right. Whereas overseas and international, and that whole scene, whether it's Australia or France or Italy or England or whatever it is, they just that's why some of the best films are just international films because they just do. They don't. Yes, they critique. Yes, they go back and edit, but it's just free. Whereas here, we're so particular about every little thing. If that shot's not done right, or if that shot's not done right, and you know, for me personally, I just sit and I watch the movie. I just take it in. I'll sit and I'll watch it again. You know, because I want to absorb everything about it. And it doesn't matter about if they do this right or this. That's the director's prerogative. That's what makes film art. And I always say film is subjective because your interpretation of a film, like I saw Elvis, okay? I loved it. Your interpretation of Elvis is completely different from mine. And that's fine. But, I think we get so caught up in the particulars that the big picture is missed. And it's just one of those things where, I mean, I just, like I said, I keep going back to it, but you've done more in your, in your life than most people would do. So when, I know we were talking about this off air, when you hear all what I just did for the introduction, and then how does it hit you? Like, my God, I can't believe I've done all this and I'm only so.
I mean, I'm 29 today. In 2 days, I'm going to be 30. So I just kind of
happy birthday! Oh my goodness! Think about that for a minute. Almost 30 years old. You've been on award-winning shows. You've traveled the country. You're a holding DGA card member. You just got a job at Universal Studios no more than 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
That's what. The only thing I can think about is this: if you do this the next 30 years, but I think the biggest thing is this. I mean, I'm kind of going on, but she's putting herself out there, guys. She's putting herself out there. She's going to get. I'm sure that you've had so many doors slammed in your face that the one door that opens, you just run through. And with that one opportunity, when you run through it, you just take it and run. And I like I said, early happy birthday, but like it just blows my mind.
I like how you said that, and the first thought that comes to mind is I came to a point where I was putting myself out there, and I realized one of the things, I get really excited, and I learned that sometimes I can get excited too quickly because I remember I had opportunity to work on different projects. There's a list of them, and it came to a point where I get excited and like, oh, sorry, Sammy, they went with someone else, or I'm like, ah. So I've learned not to get excited too quickly, and don't celebrate until you sign your deal memo, or knowing that you're on the call sheet, crew list. But even after that, but what I've learned as of today, or just not what I've learned as today, but knowing what I know today, David, is that I no longer force a door open, because going back to when I mentioned I'm in a point in my life where I'm Sammy in the world. I like to be direct with people what I want and how I can help them, and to see if they can help me, or to ask them questions. But sometimes it hurts a little, where I never see it as like a door closed, because like I said, I emphasize I don't force doors anymore. But I could be so direct of what I want, and knowing someone's platform and stage, and I'm literally saying, can you help me? And I don't get that help from them, especially from their access and platforms. I'm like, it's a little hard to digest. But I've also learned from looking from award speeches, and also from my heart, that it's like, I'm happy for the people that took a chance on me, but I'm also happy the people that didn't, because I wouldn't be talking to you right now, or when you read my credentials and resume, I wouldn't have gotten that done. So it's like, I thank you for the people that didn't believe in me, and I also love you, the people that do believe in me. So but I must say, you realize as you grow up, and I know I'm turning 30, but I'm like, I feel like a baby still, is that you realize who's truly in your corner. And I make sure I tell the people that are in my corner, I love them and I'm here for them. And let's collaborate. And that's going back to the women directors, seeing Eva Longoria and Zoe Saldana. They're women of color, and they're Hispanic along with me, and we're Latinas. And especially whether it's women or men culture, is that not only are under the same umbrella, but they're collaborating. And like, that's what I just want to do. I want to collaborate. Doesn't matter where we come from. Let's just collaborate and make a beautiful story in our cinematography.
Yeah. Tell us about your hat, because I know that is a one of a kind, just custom made. So anybody, I don't know if you could tell you can show it to everybody, but on the it's a little thing that says "Fearless," that is engraved on the inside of the rim of the hat. Tell us about it. There you go. Yeah, it says "Fearless." Tell us about it, and who made it for you?
A local from Bali. His name's Dedo. He also ships internationally. I just like to say that how many compliments I get from this hat, David, are just mind blowing. So I saw his work on Instagram while I was in Bali, reached out to him, and he came to my villa. We had a brainstorm about my book, told him, like, like just a brainstorm of who I was. I showed him my book. I showed him my family calendar, and we just like talked for an hour. And when you're an artist, and at the time I was a customer for him, I'm like, I could have had say to the color, the choice of color, the accessories. I'm like, based on this hour brainstorm, I want, choose whatever color you want. There's only two things I'm asking for. I want Fearless here to match this tattoo that I have, because this was the promise that I told myself to finish the book. And then I have my name engraved inside. It says Sammy De La O, and it says Made. And what Made comes from, if little education of Bali, is you meet a lot of Mades, Komang, Wayan, and how they name children or people in Bali is if you're the firstborn, secondborn, thirdborn. So I'm the secondborn, so my name would be Made Sammy. So I say Yamasama Made Sammy, which is my name is Sammy. And they categorize you by knowing I'm the secondborn with Made.
That's awesome. So,
yeah, and I also, it's just part of me, and I love it so much too. I even got a tattoo there.
Nice, fantastic. Yeah, no, this has been an absolute blast. And like she was saying earlier, we've been trying to. So Ken actually was the one who put us together and said, "Yeah, I know somebody," and so it's been off and on. But she's been busy bee for many months. Tell us about your podcast too. I know I totally forgot that in the intro. Tell us about your podcast here.
Well, it's not officially launched. I think, in 2020, I think we all wanted to do a podcast. I downloaded Anchor and just recorded like 30 things. I didn't look at myself as a brand until like end of year 2020. But I'm in the works of starting a podcast, and I already did my first interview. It's not published yet, but I'm scratching my head on name titles. It's currently, as of today, it's called Surrender, and it's just, that is a timely word for me, and surrender could mean to so many different things of people. And outside of the podcast being called Surrender, I also asked my guests, are you a sunrise or sunset person? So where I am at physically in Mexico is I'm able to see sunrise. Sunrise. So I do this podcast with my guest while capturing the sunrise and just talk. So it's versus and going to a different podcast. We have studios, but I'm like, this is why I like to be traveling. I don't want to have to feel like, oh, my podcast can only be in Mexico now, right? Of course, if I have a house and everything and I can have a studio here, awesome. But I'm like, I just want to be traveling, because there's some places, like there's an island in Mexico, Cozumel, they have sunrise. So I can just travel with all my equipment and just and it's not much. 2 chairs and a light and 2 fobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people don't realize, like, people don't realize that we live in this world where you can shoot from your phone and get those light gadgets, but that's where it is now. So I haven't officially actually said it publicly, but that's what I'm cooking up.
That's awesome. I mean, you just, amazing, amazing. And she's going to direct people. Let's keep that in mind. Eventually, she's going to be behind the camera directing.
With my hat.
Yeah, with your hat. But I mean, I guess the thing is, it's, people, it's only 24 hours in a day, unless she can clone herself, I mean, I can't, but that's just, so it's, wow. It's been surreal, I guess, is the word, because, I've done interviews before, and I've talked to people and, the movie critics and whatever else, and they're established and okay. Up and comers. When I say exploded, not just grew, her reputation exploded, because that's a sudden type of thing. And I can't even imagine where you're going to be in 5, 10, 15 years. You're going to have feature films under your belt. You're going to be directing. You're going to be doing so, and I'm saying this. She's like, I have no idea. I just want to be, day. But it's just
I'm trying to enjoy my journey, and I think once also too, speaking of the term surrender, once you finally surrender, it's not about you anymore. You'd be shocked in what things you start doing and learning, and who you start starting to surround yourself with people. And I think a timely thing for me to tell people this is that, of course, we like things for free, right? And I've learned the reason why I move all these places, because of course home is home and I love my family. But I do the most, I feel like I do my most quality work when I'm not with my parents or my sisters or anything like that, because I'm going through I'm evolving. And also when you finally invest in yourself, for example, there's so many courses out there, and I know there's just so many these days, but recently I invested in myself, different aspects, from learning a language, but from learning the business side of things, minimum $300 a month. And there's definitely a difference where I could have gotten that, someone could have gifted that to me, but what I'm doing now, that knowing that I'm paying minimum $300 a month, which is probably pretty much worth $1,000 to $3,000 a month. There's something of paying, and with my loved ones, and now that I know, when you finally invest in yourself and you're putting money towards it, if you can, it's a totally different ball game.
Yeah, I think that I only got one last question for you. Let's say somebody's watching us right now, and by the way, if you made it to the end, thank you very much, congratulations, and she's a fantastic interview. But seriously, one last question I have for you guys is that if somebody wants to get in the industry and they love movies or they love television, they love the entertainment industry, but they don't know how to break in, how would you go about telling somebody, hey, this is what you got to do in order to get your foot in the door or be noticed?
Reach out to me.
Done.
Reach out to me, and the reason I say that is I get reach outs, whether it's Instagram DMs or LinkedIn ones, and I hop on 30 minutes to an hour call, and I just tell them, and they're like, oh my gosh, thank you. But then after the call, I connect them with a few of my resources, whether they're key PAs or, any of my connections. And I actually recently did that, and I got her on a set, and I'm actually going to have a call with her next week, and I want to know how it went. And to teach her, she was asking me, she got her first call sheet. She's like, wait, what does this mean? And I'm like, I told her to get this earpiece, everything. So I truly say just reach out to me, because I'm an open book. Not everyone are teachers. you can maybe YouTube it, but I would just say go to people that in whether you feel like they're a stranger or a friend, go there and ask. And I think it's important to ask for help, and that's something I'm learning too the last 3 months. Ask for help. We try to come off that we know everything. No, just ask for help, and you'd be surprised what happens when you do. So reach out to me, and I want to say thank you for involving my book in this podcast, David. And like I said, my gift to you and along with your audience is once you guys gotten the book and finished reading it, if you ever want to do like a Q&A on via Zoom, I'd be happy to do that for your community. No problem.
Yeah, thank you very much. By the way, so speaking of, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a little giveaway. Okay. And so there's a couple of little requirements here that we're going to do. Number one, you have to follow me on YouTube. Okay. The other is you're going to have to follow me on Twitter, and I will put that down there for everybody to see. And she's going to have her social media handles there as well. And then the secret question is, who was the person that really accentuated her little nickname in Chicago? And if you can tell me that in the DM, we'll connect through DMs. I will then turn around, you give me your address, and I will send you a copy of her book to you personally. So that way you can continue on to that. Sammy, this has been an absolute blast. And
thank you.
You're just the thing is, you're super busy. Exactly. But
and I'm so happy we're able to do this now because I'm able to bring way more value, I feel, now versus a few months ago before I think I was heading wherever I was heading in the world.
Yeah. So early happy 30th birthday. And so guys, this is going to be up in the next couple days and whatever else. Don't forget. So we got a big 2023 coming up. We have the Perfect movies coming up, which we just recorded Silence and Lambs yesterday, and Captain America Winter Soldier. Those will be up. At least one definitely will be up by the end of the year. I'm going to try and do 2 a month. That's a stretch, but we'll see. So the 10 movies that we're going to be doing, as I said, Silence and Lambs, Captain America Winter Soldier, Skyfall, Black Panther, The Departed, several others, Schindler's List. These are movies that are just flawless all the way around. I have a ton of movies that I have yet to see. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I have to see 2001: A Space Odyssey. A ton of other ones. We're going to be doing reaction videos to those. Okay? And on top of all that, you're going to be getting the weekly roundup. So Elisa and myself and Kyle, or 2 of us, will be always talking about the newest and latest entertainment news. Unfortunately, we just lost Kirstie Alley yesterday, but she was just an amazing, amazing actress. But yeah, so nonetheless, you're going to be getting the roundup, you're going to be getting the reactions, and you're going to get Perfect movies. And you're going to be getting interviews like this. Thank you so much again. I know I keep reiterating.
Thank you.
So for Sammy, I'm David, and you have been listening to Real Talks.